Welcome to the 2020 Financial Report and 2021 Budget Review for Christ Episcopal Church, Danville, Virginia. We will be using the 2021 budget sheets that are located in PDF format through the link in the weekly news. The data on the first two sheets is presented in three different columns. The first is the budget from 2020. The second column is what we actually received and spent in 2020. The far right column is the vestry approved budget for 2021. We will review each line item in a moment, but let's look at how we did overall in 2020. Let's go to the bottom of page 2, where we can see the budget for 2020 had us ending the year with $9 surplus. We actually ended the year with $14,303.76 in the surplus. As in past years, the vestry approved the transfer of that surplus to the McCullum Fund to be available for use in later years. Now, turning to the third page, there are some numbers here that we have to track for accounting purposes, but don't necessarily have to do with the budget. The first is special collections received. This is money we took in during our food drive, the Lenten coin cards, Angel Tree, Blessing of the Animals. Special collection dispersed shows the money leaving the checking account, going to the charities, God's Storehouse, Pennsylvania Pet Center, Haven of the Dan River, and the Cougar Cares. The dispersed and received obviously equal each other. This is where we show the money that was transferred to the McCullum Fund, which was the surplus from the year. And of course, the operating account should always equal 0 at the end of the year. All the money that we took in minus all the disbursements for the year equals 0. Moving on to the fourth page, this shows the beginning and ending balances of the different funds that the church maintains. The first line is the operating account. Normally the beginning and ending balances would be the same, but during the year the vestry approved a transfer of $925 from the operating account to establish a prayer shawl ministry fund account. As you can see, this gives us $12,000 to start the year off with. The building fund is used to pay for major capital improvements and to record any donations for those improvements. In 2020, we spent $7,860 to have the ceiling repaired and the walls painted in the sanctuary, and $1,040 to purchase an AED for the church. Thanks to member donations, we still ended the year with a $300 balance. The primary use of the discretionary fund is to assist the poor of the congregation and the larger community. Disbursements are made at the discretion of the priest in charge. Deposits to the account are from designated donations and the loose offerings from the first Sunday of each month. We ended the year with $1,388. Money in the flower fund is used for the purchase of flowers and floral supplies for the use in the worship service and the grounds of the church. Deposits to the account are from specific individual donations, usually from the Easter and Christmas flower money collected. We ended the year with $1,182. The memorial fund is used for the purchase of items to be used in conjunction with the worship service. Monies received as a general or specific donation in memory or in thanksgiving for an individual or organization. Several altar linens and coverings were purchased during the year, and we have received money in memory of Lucille Baines and Barbara Clark. As mentioned before, the Prayer Shawl Ministry Fund is a new fund this year. It was started with money transferred from the operating account along with specific member donations. Money has been used from this account to purchase yarn and other materials related to the Prayer Shawl Ministry. The Youth Fund is used for the purchase of items or activity fees in conjunction with the youth ministries of Christ Church. No money was received or dispersed from this account during the year. All the money in the funds just mentioned are contained in the same checking account. They are tracked individually and reported on the monthly treasurer's report. We ended the year with $16,779 in the checking account. Further down the page are 4 more funds that have their own separate accounts. The first is the Haney Scholarship Fund. This fund was set up to allow college scholarships to active members of Christ Church. A special collection is usually held on Back to School Sunday and deposited in this account. During 2020, one $300 scholarship was awarded. The Columbarium Fund was set up for the purpose of continued operation of the Christ Episcopal Church Holy Spirit Prayer Garden in Columbarium, to include improvements or any unusual maintenance to the existing garden, as well as relocation, removal, or any other expense the vestry designates. Money received for the purchase of one of the lots is added to this fund. There was $2 of interest earned on this account during the year, but no other transactions. The Sullivan Music Fund is used to pay for special musical accompaniment or programs beyond the normal organist, pianist, or choir. In 2020, money from this fund was used to purchase 3 special singing masks. The McCullum Fund is an endowment account with investment opportunities that are managed by a vestry-appointed committee. It's for use by the vestry to cover budgetary shortfalls or large improvements or repairs to the church property. We have been fortunate in the past several years to be able to transfer money into this fund at the end of the year. 2020 saw $14,303.76 added to this fund. In this fund, about $50,000 is in a money market fund with immediate availability by the vestry. The other $150,000 is in longer-term investments, which have provided about $5,000 worth of interest and dividends during 2020. As you can see, we ended 2020 with $233,123 in all the funds held by the church. Let us go back to page 1 and look at the vestry-approved 2021 budget. The goal of the vestry was to come up with a budget that allowed us to pay all our bills without taking money from the McCullum Fund. The vestry would like to thank all members who turned in pledge cards and committed to financially support the church in 2021. Even with year-over-year increases in individual pledges, we find ourselves $6,800 below the 2020 pledge amount, due to the death of 4 members and several members that have or soon will be moving from the area. As in past years, we actually saw members give more than they had originally pledged. For 2020, that total of $57,947.48. Loose offering consists of all loose cash placed in the plate that is not within a container with a family name on it. Periodically, the loose offering is designated for other purposes. For example, the first Sunday of the month, the loose offering goes into the discretionary fund. And on Back to School Sunday, the loose offering goes into the Haney Memorial Scholarship Fund. In those cases, the money would not be recorded as loose offering in this line item. In 2020, we actually took in $710, which was below our 2020 budget, due to the extended closure of the church in the spring. For 2021, we will once again budget $800. Non-pledged donations consist of monies received from individuals or families who have not made a pledge to Christ Church. The donations are clearly identifiable as to the giver, either with a personal check or in an envelope with a name on it. For 2020, we received $1,450, which was well over our budgeted $1,000. Using the trending data for the past 6 years, we raised the 2020 budgeted amount to $1,200. Fundraising is obviously money received from church-sponsored fundraisers. The Shrove Tuesday Pancake Supper is our main fundraiser for Christ Church. As you can see, In 2020, we made $1,017. Although our pancake supper for 2021 has been canceled, we still budgeted $1,000 and will need to hold some sort of fundraiser later in the year to make up the money. Other income consists of monies received that do not comply with the other four revenue categories. For 2020, we actually took in $52, mainly from the prayer candles at the back of the church. Although we have traditionally not budgeted anything for other income, data from the past 6 years indicated $24 would be a reasonable amount. The actual total operating revenue for 2020 was $61,176.48, which was above our budgeted amount of $55,520. For 2021, with the reduction in pledges, we are budgeting $48,944. Obviously, with less revenue coming in, we had to cut expenses as well. Let's go over that section next. The first expense categories we will be looking at is clergy compensation. The first 4 line items are part of the 2-year contract with Father Tim, so the budgeted items for last year will remain the same in 2021. The first line is housing allowance. Since Father Tim is part-time and has another full-time job, he had asked that his pay be designated as housing allowance for tax purposes. The next item is pension fund. This is the amount the church pays directly to the church pension fund for Father Tim. Travel expense is used to reimburse Father Tim for mileage, tolls, and parking fees when traveling out of town to visit sick parishioners in hospitals or to go to clergy meetings at the diocesan headquarters. Since most in-person meetings at the diocesan level were canceled and visitation was restricted at most hospitals, we were under budget for 2020. Business expense is for the reimbursement of expenses incurred in the course of professional activities on behalf of the church. Once again, since most of the workshops and conferences were canceled this year, we were under budget. Workers' comp insurance is required by the state and is a new line item for 2021. We did receive the bill in December that paid for 2021. That is why there's an actual disbursement of $235 in 2020. We pay supply priests $175 to perform a Holy Eucharist at Christ Church. For 2019, our supply priest budget was almost $10,000. It was reduced to $1,750 in 2020 once we hired Father Tim. This would allow coverage on the maximum of 10 Sundays that Father Tim is allowed to take off as a part-time priest. In 2020, we only used supply priests 5 different Sundays, so we were under budget. For 2021, the vestry reduced the amount to 4 Sundays, totaling $700. We will plan to do morning prayer if Father Tim is absent more than 4 Sundays. Supply priest mileage expense reimburses the out-of-town supply priests at the IRS rate. For 2020, we only reimbursed for 1 service. For 2021, we reduced the budget to $250, which would cover the 4 Sundays of a supply priest. Total clergy compensation for 2020 was a little over $1,400 under budget. For 2021, with the reduction for the supply priests, we reduced the budget by almost $1,000. The next section is building expenses. Janitorial was under budget by $480. During the extended closure in the spring, we were not charged for 3 months. For 2021, we budgeted for the full 12 months worth of cleaning. Even though we're not having indoor services, with the parking lot services, the building is open for the bathrooms and a full cleaning is accomplished each week. Grounds is for the upkeep of the exterior of the church, including mowing, trimming bushes, the cost of mulch, and occasionally bush hogging the fields. For 2020, we were slightly under budget, and the budget for 21 was adjusted accordingly. Insurance covers our building insurance policy. In 2020, there were some initial charges for the workers' comp that was included in this line item for 2021, we separated workers' comp to a separate line item. That's why it appears that the budget went down for 2021. Maintenance and repair covers routine maintenance and minor repairs to the church facility. This includes the quarterly pest spraying, the yearly termite inspection, the yearly organ cleaning and servicing, furnace filters, light bulbs, etc. For 2020, we were under budget by over $500, and the 2021 budget was reduced by $500, which is in line with the trending data from the past 6 years. For 2021, the budget for building expenses was reduced by almost $600. Utility expenses. Due to the low water use at church, we pay the minimum fee for water and sewer hookup, which is $48 a month. Earlier in the year, we had a toilet that was running for most of the week, which put us over our water usage, and we were charged an extra $2.70. For 2021, we are budgeting the standard $576 for the year. Electrical was under budget for 2020 by $1,276.44 due to the church closures. For 2021, we did reduce the budget by $200. Several years ago, we disconnected our fax line and reduced our telephone to the basic business plan. With consistent monthly bills in 2020, we reduced our 2021 budget by $10. Overall, for 2020, our utility expenses were more than $1,200 under budget. For 2021, the budget has been reduced by $210. Now let's take a look at program expenses. For 2020, we budgeted to be able to pay an organist the $150 per service at every service during the year and for the special weekday services like Christmas. With the church closures and the use of a pianist, which we only pay $100 per service, we were under budget by $3,700. For 2021, the budget was reduced by $2,250. This will provide money for 2 Sundays with an organist and 2 Sundays with a pianist, each month from February to December. The music line item funds the purchase of music, choir robes, and other materials related to the weekly service music. For the past several years, we have only budgeted $50 to allow the purchase of the yearly Episcopal Church service music book. Altar and liturgical funds the maintenance and care of all liturgical material used in worship, like altar linens and vestments, and for the purchase of consumables such as wine, bread, and oil for the candles. For 2020, with the closures, we were under budget by almost $200. We are budgeting the full $500 for 2021. Delegate expense is for the costs associated with sending a delegate and our priest from Christ Church to the annual diocesan council. This includes registration fees, hotel, mileage, and reimbursement for food. The 2021 diocesan annual council is being held virtually, allowing us to reduce delegate expense by $550. Money from the outreach expense is usually combined with money received from special collections to provide support to local charities. The budget will remain at $200 for 2021. Adult programs provides money for the purchase of materials for adult Christian education programs and guest speakers. No money was spent in 2020, and the budget was reduced to $50 for 2021. Money from the children programs provide for the purchase of materials for Christian education programs and provide opportunities for the youth of the church to gather for educational and recreational events. In 2020, we spent $63.69. This was used to purchase individual supplies for the children's chapel. The budget was reduced to $50 for 2021. For 2020, total program expenses were under budget by over $4,000. For 2021, the budgets were reduced to $6,950, which is still more than what we actually spent in 2020. Under office expenses, the supplies line item allows money to produce the Sunday bulletin, monthly newsletter, special booklets, as well as educational material. This includes copier paper, envelopes, ink for computer printers, etc. As much of the supplies were donated in 2020, we only spent $101.17. For 2021, the budget was reduced to $200, which is in line with our spending over the past 6 years. Postage provides funds for the P.O. Box rental and mailings of all materials regarding the Life of Christ Church. With more people using email, we only spent $119 last year, and the budget was reduced to $140 for 2021. The copier line item provides for a copier contract that includes all maintenance and toner to keep the office copier running. As our copier machine gets older, the contract went up a little bit for 2020, and we anticipate an increase again in 2021. For 2020, total office expenses were under budget by about $370. The budget for 2021 was reduced, but is still above what we actually spent in 2020. Let's now look at our last expense category, other expenses. For 2021, the diocesan pledge has been reduced to $2,000. The diocese had requested $4,010 for the 2021 year. This was 10% of one of our revenue numbers found on the 2019 parochial report. The decision to reduce the diocesan pledge was made by the vestry in December when the diocesan pledge letters were due. The vestry did let the diocese know that if our financial situation improved, we would consider increasing that number later in the year. No money for advertising has been spent from our budget in the past 4 years, so the number was reduced to 0 for 2021. Although we have done some advertising, especially for the pancake supper, the cost of those advertisements has been donated by members. Miscellaneous consists of any expenses that do not comply with the other expense categories. This includes food purchased for fellowship meals, coffee, disposable cups, etc. In 2020, all required items were donated. For 2021, the budget was reduced to $150. Total other expenses were $400 under budget for 2020, and the total for the 2021 budget was reduced by $1,660. For 2020, the total of all operating expenses was $46,872.72, which was $8,638.28 under budget. For 2021, the budget for total operating expenses was reduced to $48,944, which is still above what we actually spent for 2020. This brings us down to net income or loss for church operations. For 2020, we were budgeting a $9 surplus. We actually ended the year with $14,303.76 of surplus, mainly due to expenses being lower than predicted and revenue being higher. Once again, that money was transferred to the McCollum Fund and can be used in future years to offset any budgetary shortfalls or to pay for any major repairs to the church. For 2021, we are predicting a 0 net income or loss. Thank you for your continued financial and spiritual support of Christ Church. If you have any questions on last year's finances or the 2021 budget, please speak to John Ross, John Fifield, or another member of the vestry.